Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Kim and this is Expedition 3 Pages. And today I thought I would update you on my May reading because in May you guys are partially dictating what I read. The amount of books I get through suggested by you guys is going to have a consequence on the next round of my TBR game. If you want to see any more details about that, I will link my last TBR game video in the description if you wanted to go and take a look. But essentially, the more books that I get through suggested by you guys, the better for me. It's currently the 9th of May, and the reason my update is a little bit later is because I've been on holiday. I was on holiday in the first week of May. We went down to Cheddar Gorge near Bath in the UK and then on to Cornwall, and it was really nice. And we lucked out with the weather. It only rained like one of the days and everything was so beautiful. But essentially we went to Bath on the first day and went in a couple of really lovely bookshops. I will insert some footage now of one of the bookshops that we went in because it was absolutely stunning. I'll put the name on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. It was great. We found a secluded Cornish beach just on one of the days and it really reminded me of Rebecca. So I'll put some footage in of that now for you to see. But yeah, it was absolutely stunning. Highly recommend. But onto the reading. So, by the way, there is still time to suggest books. If you wanted to suggest me a book to read, you can just comment in the last video. So the one that I've already linked down in the description from my TBR game for May. That's where I pull the suggestions from. So if you wanted to do that, you can do that, absolutely. But the book that I was currently reading going into May was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And I finished this while I was on holiday and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was going to be a 5-star when I started reading it, but it didn't quite reach those heights. But it was still really good. You're essentially following Sam and Sadie from when they're children and they meet and bond over playing video games in the 80s. And then you see their friendship over time and essentially like how they deal with different life events that happen to them and stuff like that. It's definitely a story about friendship and about misunderstandings and passion and kind of following your dreams and the connection that you can have with somebody, and kind of that doesn't always mean that you're always on the best terms with that person, but you can still be like very connected to them. And I just thought it was really beautifully written. I thought it was very inspiring. This is a book about making video games as well. So if you are in any way that inclined, love playing video games, would love to make a video game, just are creative or in that way in general, then I think that you would really like this book because I love reading about people's processes and their, you know, things that inspire them to make the things that they do. The one thing that I would say about this, which kind of took me out of the story a little bit, is that, you know, Sam and Sadie were born in the 70s, and so this is 80s, 90s, 2000s kind of time. But I didn't think the voice from like I'm going to say the 90s because I was around in the 80s, but only as a very small child, so I don't really remember that. But I felt like it sounded a bit too modern for it to have come from the 90s, in my opinion. And that was like the only, I don't know if it's a negative, but I felt like, yeah, the way that they were talking didn't really sound like it was from the 90s. It sounded a very modern way of talking, and that took me out of the story a tiny bit. I don't know if it matters or if I was just overthinking it. Everything else I just really enjoyed. I enjoyed learning about them and going through their ups and downs with them and going through their creative processes with them. I enjoyed this a lot. I think it was great, and I do want to read more from Gabrielle Zevin as well because I'm intrigued, and I think this was her 10th book, so there is a quite substantial backlist already to get to, which is exciting. I was thinking, like, imagine your 10th book being like hugely successful suddenly. I mean, I'm sure she was a successful author before this, but just more widely successful, you know, more known in the general public. So yeah, anyway, 4.5 stars, can highly recommend if you like those kind of themes. Okay, so I did a comment generator on the video that I've spoken about in order to pick the first book. So the idea is if there are multiple books mentioned, I get my choice. If there's one book, I don't get a choice. I went on the comment generator, random comment generator for the video, and the person whose comment came up was Amanda's, and Amanda gave me a range of books to choose from, and the one that I ended up going for was The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. And I took this on holiday. It actually turned out Spencer had this on audiobook, so we were going to read Morrigan Crow when we were away, but because he had this on audio and he'd partially listened to it before, but not completely, and because this was chosen by Amanda, I was like, well, let's just listen to it on our holiday, because we were driving for a long time. It takes a long time to get from London to Cornwall. So yeah, we listened to it over the course of the week. We were not successful in figuring out the mystery, but it was really good. It was a really good book. So this book follows a group of retired pensioners that are living in this very kind of extravagant retirement complex, I'm going to say, because it's very out of the way. It's got all its own amenities in there. You first meet them when Elizabeth is asking a woman called Joyce about how long it takes someone to die if they've been stabbed, basically. And she's asking Joyce because Joyce used to be a nurse. And then from that conversation, Joyce gets invited into the Thursday Murder Club, where they go through old cases and try and crack them. But then something happens and there's a murder on their doorstep, and then they are trying to solve that murder. And I just thought this was a really good read. It was funny. We enjoyed the audiobook. I do think I may have enjoyed it more just reading it, but listening to it with Spencer was really fun, and trying to work out what was going on. There were loads of different characters, so there were loads of different suspects, and there were a few times where you were like, okay, I've got this down, I've caught this out, this is, the hints or whatever. So yeah, I did enjoy the mystery. But what I most enjoyed was the characters and how Richard brought them to life, because every character, even the minor characters, just seemed very distinct. The 4 main characters I just really like, and they're completely different. Like, the only reason that they're together is because of this. They're all interested in cracking these murders. Like, they're not 4 people who have the same interest or from the same backgrounds. They're all completely different. It was just really nice to get to know them and other characters in the story as well. So yeah, it was a success, even though we didn't guess what was going on at all. I thought it was really good, and it was made for a nice holiday read. It was definitely something good to read in like 1 week all together, because there were so many different characters, basically. But yeah, so thank you so much to Amanda for suggesting that I read the Thursday Murder Club, and this also means that I have successfully read 1 book and gained myself 1 point. So I actually ran 2 comment generators through before I went on holiday, just in case I finished 1 book. I didn't, so I didn't start the other one, but I have started it now. But essentially, Brittany's comment came up, and Brittany suggested Scythe by Neil Shusterman, which is the first book in a trilogy that I've forgotten the name of. But this is about a world that's kind of a utopia. They've solved everything. Like, you don't die, basically. You can just regenerate, you can reach a certain age and then reset and go backwards to a younger age and stuff like that. And because of this, that means that essentially more children are being born all the time, but the world is only so big. And I've read the first chapter, and it said that there were some attempts at colonizing the moon, I think, and maybe Mars, but it was unsuccessful. So they have to stay on Earth, and in order for the population not to go completely out of hand, they have these people called scythes who are employed to kill people in order to keep population numbers under control. Yeah, I find it such an interesting premise, and I know that lots of people absolutely love this series. Although I think the last book is kind of mixed reviews, which worries me, because obviously that's the final book in the series, so you want that to be the best one, really. But like I say, I've only read 1 chapter so far, and I have to put it down for the time being, because my book club I do with some friends and family is on a Sunday, and we have to read Villette by Charlotte Bronte. This book was based on Charlotte Bronte's personal experience of being a teacher in Brussels. So I find anything that's based on real life back in the day just really interesting, especially at the moment. I'm definitely on some sort of weird classics kick, because I just find it absolutely fascinating to read about. I'm currently on page 72. I'm just about to start chapter 9, and this font is really small, and there's 400 pages, more than that. 462 pages in this book. So I've got a long way to go, essentially, by Sunday, because today is Tuesday. So I've had to put Scythe down for now and pick up Villette. But as soon as I finish this, then I'll pick Scythe back up. And then I can do a another comment generator and find out what my next book is. So yeah, thank you guys so much for suggesting books. I'm going to leave it there for this one. This was just my little update of the first week. And yeah, so next time I think I'll do the random comment generator on camera so you can see my reaction and like choosing the book and stuff. But yeah, thank you so much to Amanda and Brittany for commenting and allowing me to choose some books. And yeah, thanks to Amanda because I absolutely love the Thursday Murder Club. And thank you to Brittany because I'm pretty sure I'm going to love Scythe too. I would absolutely love to know what you guys read in the first week of May and how your May is going. I hope you're having a lovely time. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.